Ready? I never knew your real name. I never knew.
What do you mean?
No.
What?
I don't know. Somebody told me Felton,
Yeah,
right?
the third.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Never knew. So I learned something doing some digging on you.
Yeah.
I learned something
Felton,
new every day.
Felton. That was Bill Russell's name.
Really?
Yeah, William
Really?
Felton Russell.
I did not know that either.
So, yeah, my grandfather, my dad, and me.
That's awesome.
All Felton.
All Felton, Jeffrey Capel.
How about that?
Yeah.
Well, Jeff, it's great to see you. We were just talking about your team and how you have several returning pieces. And in a day and age where roster continuity can be a challenge, you do have some familiar faces back for your program and guys that look poised to take that leap. What's the benefits of having guys who know what you're putting down right when you start the preseason?
Well, it's really important if you can have some continuity. It's something I certainly don't take for granted in today's college basketball world. So, even during the season last year, as we got to January into February, as a staff, we would talk that we want to keep Carrington, Lowe, and Leggett. At worst, we have to keep at least two of them.
And you did.
And we did. And the one that we lost, we didn't lose him to a school. We lost him to a lottery pit.
Yeah.
And so having those two guys back at positions that are, I think, vital in college basketball, the guard positions, I think is huge. They're both really good players, big-time competitors. They understand our program. They understand me and what we need and what we want. They're two guys that kind of, I think, encompass of what our program has been about, which is toughness, chip on your shoulder. None of our guys are recruited by ACC teams. And so we all collectively have a chip on our shoulder, feel like we have something to prove, and I think that meshes right with the city of Pittsburgh.
Yeah, you didn't think Bub, we talked last year, you knew he'd be good, but you didn't think in a year he would do what he did.
No,
you thought it would kind of be he and Lowe together.
Yeah, I thought all three of those guards would be really, really good. Certainly when we recruited Bub, I knew that he was better than whatever he was ranked. Yeah. And I don't even remember what, because I've never really paid attention to it.
I think they were both like 100-ish, weren't they?
Yeah, and so I knew he was better than that. When they got there and we started working with him, I knew that it was going to happen fast as far as he was, but I didn't think it would be a year. But I didn't think it would be 4 years for Bub.
Yeah.
And then after like the first 4 games, that's when you started to think like, this could go a lot faster than we think. Yeah. And he just kept getting better and better. I don't think people know or understand how smart he is and how quickly he picks things up. He's a little bit like the guy I compare him to with that I've coached that was like that is Tyus Jones. Just have an ability to pick things up and kind of process it in real time and be able to attack it. Bub has the ability to do that.
Coach, I read a terrific article right when you, and this is years ago, so I can't credit who wrote it, and forgive me, whoever it is, if you're watching, but you talked about Pitt. It's got good bones, kind of like a house. It's got good bones. We're going to figure it out. Took 4 years to get going. What's clicked in the last 2? Because you guys have been a tough out, even since you got the job. But what clicked to 24 and 22 wins?
Yeah, I think it was just, you mentioned those first 4 years, man.
You had bad luck. You had
they
some
were hard.
bad
Well,
luck.
that too.
It was
I
hard.
mean,
It was, when I took the job, I knew it was in bad shape. I knew that. But you get there and you don't realize,
Sure.
You just don't realize it. And then at the end of year 2, there's a global pandemic.
Yeah, that doesn't help things.
And that really hurt us. It probably hurt everyone, but it really hurt our program because the thing I've learned about Pittsburgh, a lot of people have never been to Pittsburgh. So they have a perception of what Pittsburgh is.
Sure.
And then you come there, and it's not anything like the perception you thought. That's how it was for me moving there. And it's a really, really cool city. Most people still think of, plants and industry and things like that. And now it's tech, it's food, it's all of that. It's a really, really cool city. So for 18 months, we couldn't bring anyone on campus. Mm-hmm. And then right after things open up with the pandemic, you have the one-time transfer
right.
and NIL. So the world changed, and then the world of college athletics changed. So I think it was just kind of getting some stability after that. And then, having Jamarius Burton stay.
Sure.
And then getting Blake Henson, Greg Elliott, and Nelly Cummings, Nike Sibonde stayed, and then getting Federico and those guys. And I felt like we just had the right mix of guys. Again, none of those guys recruited at a high major level. They all had chips on their shoulders, something to prove. And they kind of helped establish that Lowe and Carrington committing before we had won. I mean, when Bub got drafted, I was there, and I got emotional. I was texting my wife right after he got picked, just writing just with his parents. And, I just think about it, like that kid, Jalen, the same way, they committed to me before year 4.
Yeah.
Before year 5, I should say.
Sure.
So we hadn't played.
Right.
There was a lot of stuff about me. A lot of people in Pittsburgh didn't want me. There were a lot of people that were calling for my job, and I should have been fired, things like that. They didn't do it because of the – I heard all of it. And those guys saw something and believed. And I'll forever be grateful for that group of guys, the guys that we have now, because – look, we had some other guys bail. We had some recruits that bailed. So it was a lot of stuff that was going on. And I'm grateful to my athletic director at the time, Heather Light, for sticking and believing, Chancellor Gallagher. And we've been able to be pretty good the past 2 years.
I'm sorry. This is just a quick snippet. The entrance into Pittsburgh, when you go through through the tunnel,
especially if you come through at night.
I did.
Yeah.
I played all over the world. Like, top.
So we try to bring
maybe top 2, and I don't think it's 2.
Recruits at night.
Oh, that's smart.
That's one of the reasons why. So if we were going to start Friday,
nicer.
we try to bring them in Thursday night to bring them through the tunnel so they could see it open up.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
Losing Bub is never going to be something that's easy, especially if it's a year earlier. But silver lining is it opens the door for Jalen to maybe have a bigger role as a sophomore. There's always that sophomore leap that guys take. What do you see out of him, and what are you hoping to get from him this season?
Well, I thought first and foremost, our team changed last year when Jalen got healthy. Mm-hmm. And when he got healthy, which was around the middle of January, we took off. With him in the starting lineup, we were 15-4.
Wow.
And it all coincided with him being right, him being healthy. And I thought during the last 3 weeks of the season, I thought us and North Carolina were the 2 best teams in our league. If you look at our record, that's what we played in the semifinals of the ACC tournament. We were both, I think, 15-3 headed into that game during that stretch. And a big reason for that was Jalen Lowe. I think he's gotten better since last year. He's gotten stronger. He's more confident. He understands what college basketball is about. And probably most importantly, and knock on some wood, he's healthy. And I think he's poised to have a big season for us. We need it, and we have a lot of confidence in him doing that.
You will host West Virginia Friday, November 15th, the renewal of that rivalry. You'll take on LSU and then either UCF or Wisconsin in the Greenbrier tip-off. Our friends at Intersport there at Ohio State, followed by at Mississippi State in a game that I know you don't have control of, but Starkville is where – have you ever been in Starkville?
I've never been to Starkville.
You've never been?
I've never been.
Stark Vegas, baby.
Vacation
Beautiful
destination.
there. You may never leave.
I may never leave.
We were saying it earlier. When you win 22 games and you're in the ACC, from our vantage point, if I knew nothing else, I'd say NCAA Tournament. And we were talking with Commissioner Phillips about this earlier, that it comes down to your league collectively, not just winning games in November and December. Because in my mind, your bid accumulating is done by like December 20th or so, because at that point you're all beating up on each other to a certain extent. Is that what you subscribe to, and what's your thought process for this league to get more bids?
Yeah, well, I think it's I think the way you explained it, I think I find a lot of truth in that. We felt really good about our non-conference schedule going into last season. We just didn't know that what would happen to Coach Huggins happened. That would kind of change their season. When we played Missouri, they didn't know they were bad at the time. And
you had an intent to schedule.
And we lost that game because we weren't ready yet. I had 2 freshman guards that were still trying to figure it out. Ish Leggett moving up from Rhode Island to our level. So we were good, but we weren't ready to play that level of competition, and it showed in that game. But I thought those 2 games and the fact that we lost the Missouri game, that's what really did us in when they talked about our non-conference schedule and the strength of our non-conference. If West Virginia was who we thought they were going to be and Missouri was who we thought they were going to be, then we were in the tournament. Because you would think 22 wins, top 4 in the ACC, that does it for you. I agree that we have to do a better job of winning in the non-conference. My first 4 years, we were part of the group that maybe was pulling the league back in the non-conference. And so collectively, we have to do a better job of that. And then hopefully we can get the respect nationally that I think our league deserves, because we've shown in March what we did.